Have you ever laughed at an anime ability and thought, wow, that's useless, why would anyone ever use that? Only to realize later that the same trash skill completely flips the script and becomes one of the most broken, overpowered techniques in the story. Anime is full of abilities that look ridiculous on the surface, powers that seem like comic relief or background filler. But in the right hands, at the right moment, they transform into absolute game changers. Today we're breaking down the top 7 anime abilities that looked completely useless at first, but turned out to be insanely powerful. And before we get started, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss our next anime breakdowns. At number 7, let's talk about Shikamaru Nara's Shadow Possession Jutsu from Naruto. When this ability was first introduced, most fans saw it as situational and unimpressive. All it does is let Shikamaru connect his shadow to his opponent's shadow, forcing them to copy his movements. It doesn't increase strength, it doesn't deal damage, and if you're not standing in the right light, it barely works at all. But then, Shikamaru started using it creatively. Suddenly, this weak jutsu became one of the most versatile tools in the entire series. He used it to immobilize opponents far stronger than him, to set traps, and to manipulate entire battlefields. His intellect turned what looked like a trash ability into something that rivaled top-tier ninjutsu. By the time he outsmarted and incapacitated Hidan of the Akatsuki, everyone realized the Shadow Possession Jutsu wasn't weak at all. It was terrifying. Coming in at number 6, we have Koichi Hirose's stand, Echoes, from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4. At first, Echoes seems silly. Stage 1 literally writes sound effects on objects, which then repeat that sound over and over again. It looks like a gag ability compared to heavy-hitting stands like Crazy Diamond or Killer Queen. But as Koichi's Echoes evolves, it becomes absurdly powerful. Echoes Act 3 can manipulate gravity by attaching 3 freeze to enemies, pinning them down and immobilizing them regardless of their strength. Koichi, a timid side character, suddenly has one of the most hacks abilities in the series. Echoes went from joke to nightmare, showing that in JoJo's world, even sound effects can kill.
At number 5, let's move to One Piece and Usopp's Pop Greens. When Usopp first introduced his plant-based ammunition after the time skip, it felt laughable. He was shooting seeds that grew into plants. How threatening could that be in a world where people summon tsunamis and split islands in half? But as battles progressed, Pop Greens became one of the most versatile weapons in the Straw Hat's arsenal. Usopp could create instant cover, immobilize enemies, and even summon carnivorous plants mid-battle. The real highlight was during Dressrosa, when Usopp's sniping combined with Pop Greens allowed him to take down Sugar from an impossible distance, saving the entire crew. What looked like a gimmick actually turned Usopp into a deadly long-range specialist who could alter entire wars.
Number 4 is Shiapoof's Scales from Hunter x Hunter. Among the Chimera Ant Royal Guards, Poof was always seen as the least threatening compared to Yuppie and Neferpitou. His ability? Scales that rained down pollen-like particles, manipulating emotions. It sounded unimpressive compared to raw strength or regeneration, but in practice, Poof's ability was insanely dangerous. He could control crowds, break enemies' wills, and even manipulate allies by twisting their emotions. Against characters like Killua and Palm, his scales almost changed the outcome of key missions. Poof showed that brute strength isn't everything. Psychological warfare can be just as devastating. At number 3, we have Shizuku's Blinky Vacuum from Hunter x Hunter. Yes, you heard that right. A vacuum cleaner. When Shizuku first revealed that her conjured weapon was a vacuum that could suck up anything non-living, it sounded ridiculous. A vacuum cleaner as a Nen ability? Useless, right? Wrong. Blinky turned out to be one of the most absurdly practical skills in the entire series. It could instantly clean battlefields, erase evidence, and remove deadly poison clouds or traps in seconds. In combat, Shizuku could eliminate environmental hazards that gave opponents an advantage, leveling the field instantly. The vacuum went from a running joke to a tactical weapon that proved terrifying in the hands of someone creative.
Number 2 is Momo Yaoyorozu's creation quirk from My Hero Academia. At first, her ability to create objects from her fat cells seemed underwhelming and inefficient. Early in the series, Momo lacked confidence and often froze up in battle, making her look weak compared to flashy heroes like Bakugo or Todoroki. But as the story went on, fans began to realize that Momo's ability is basically limitless. With enough knowledge of chemistry and physics, she can create almost anything: massive cannons, shields, medical tools, tracking devices. Her true limitation isn't her quirk, but her own knowledge and stamina. In theory, creation is one of the most overpowered abilities in the entire series. With experience and confidence, Momo turned her support quirk into something that could rival the strongest heroes.
And finally, at number 1, we have Trafalgar Law's Ope Ope no Mi from One Piece. When it was first introduced, Law's room looked like a weird spatial gimmick. He could cut things without killing them, switch objects, or teleport items around. Interesting, sure, but not world-breaking. Then, the full scope was revealed. The Ope Ope no Mi allows Law to manipulate anything within his room with godlike precision. He can cut people apart without harming them, swap personalities, and even perform miraculous surgeries like giving immortality at the cost of his life. In Dressrosa, Law's powers combined with his intelligence to nearly take down Doflamingo, one of the 7 warlords. By the Wano arc, Law's Ope Ope no Mi had evolved into a universe-breaking power that could damage even Yonko. What once seemed like a quirky gimmick fruit turned out to be one of the most dangerous powers in all of One Piece.
Looking back at these 7 abilities, one thing is clear: anime loves to surprise us. What looks useless at first can turn out to be unstoppable in the right hands. Shikamaru's shadows, Koichi's sound effects, Usopp's plants, Poof's scales, Shizuku's vacuum, Momo's creations, and Law's operating room all prove that in anime, it's not always about raw strength or flashy explosions. Sometimes the most broken powers are the ones you underestimate. So the next time you see a skill that looks like trash, ask yourself, what if this is secretly the most overpowered ability in the story? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment with which trash ability you think turned out to be God tier. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.